everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. Today we've got the infotainment breakdown on the 2023 GMC Denali Ultimate and its assortment of screens. We've got a 10.2-inch infotainment screen there, a 12-inch digital gauge cluster in front of us, a 15-inch head-up display that you might be able to see on the camera there, and then 12.6 or 12.3-inch screens in the back. So let's go through and take a look at how they all work. But before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. Big, black, beautiful and powerful, the GMC Yukon, and Denali wasn't enough, so they had to add the Ultimate trim up here on top of it. 6 figures and a 6.2 liter engine underneath. This thing is pretty darn luxurious, but keep in mind it still does ride just like a body-on-frame truck. So if you do want to see more on the Denali, check the link in the description. We've got a fuel economy test, a sound system review, and a classic review. Link to all those will be below. Alright, before we dig into the center touchscreen, let's take a look at this gauge cluster. You've got a little bit of a classic analog gauge display going on the sides. Pretty much everything is controlled with this right side toggle switch and roller area here. And the screen's essentially broken up into 3 different parts. You've got speedometer and one information screen on the left, digital speedometer and other information in the middle, and then tachometer and another information screen on the right. And then on the bottom, you've got all sorts of information like coolant temp, fuel, distance to empty, battery voltage, etc. So let's start by clicking in on the roller knob here, which actually gives us nothing. Let's start by scrolling up on the roller knob and going to info page options. That shows you all the different screens you can have optionally brought up there. There we go, this is what I'm looking for, display layout. You can choose a few different ones. We were in progressive right there. If you go to classic, that's giving you a little bit more of a standard gauge look. So now they look more like sweeping analog gauges. If you go down to digital, then that's getting rid of that fake gauge look and it's just giving you those information screens. And clean is getting rid of all of that superfluous information and simply giving you speed and fuel. Let's bring it back up to progressive and take a look at all the information you can get on all the screens. Going back, you got left side info. Over there you can get either readouts for compass, time and temperature, tire pressure, fuel economy average, transmission fluid temp, or you can choose none and keep it clean. Over on the right side, you can do drive modes. So it'll show you what your 4-wheel drive mode is selected and your driving mode is. You can also get a lot of the similar ones like compass, time and temp, tire pressure, fuel economy, trans fluid temp, or none. And then in the bottom section, you can either make this maximum to give you the most information, medium, it's just giving you fuel and coolant, or minimum, just fuel. You can also change the units in here. If you're going up to Canada or something, you need to switch that over to kilometers per hour. You do that through here. You can also set up a speed warning. So if you get over a certain speed, maybe you're not paying attention, it'll alert you. And also some settings for the head-up display. Choose what information is displayed up there. And if you want to see the speed sign. So that's kind of nice to know what the road speed limit is. And then in the center screen, you can go up, down, or left, right, and see all the different information here. You can either get that digital speedometer, a drive summary, so showing you your distance, fuel economy, and time since you set off. Trip information, a timer since you reset it, your tire pressure, fuel economy, assistance, so how far you're following the vehicle in front of you and what your adaptive cruise control is set at, oil life monitor, brake pad life monitor, air filter life monitor, trailer brake settings. You got a trailer brake controller built in on this one right over there. Some off-road settings showing you your pitch and yaw angles as well as your 4-wheel drive settings, how long the engine has run for, and your transmission fluid temp. Or if you don't want any of that, you can simply have a blank page. I apologize, but I'm going to have to start it up. Get a little bit of AC running in here. I'm getting toasty. On top of the digital gauge cluster there, you have an optional head-up display in here, and you can control it with these controls over on the left side. So this HUD head-up display up-down will actually move it up and down. Very easy to do. And then the info button will scroll through what information you want seen. Now, I don't know how well this is going to come up on camera, but you've got off-road right there, nothing, and a little screen for adaptive cruise and a compass. So those are your options. And then you can adjust the brightness of the head-up display with this toggle as well. I like that GM has always given you nice, easy physical controls for your head-up display. Making our way over to the center display. This is an Android automotive-based system, which means It's an infotainment system built on Android, but customized for automotive use. And we see it, I believe, mostly in Hondas and GMs right now, and it is one of my favorite setups. I take that back. You also see it in Volvos and Polestars. I think it works really, really well. It's very responsive, and in this layout, pretty easy to use as well. We're not going to go through every little minute detail and setting, but I want to go through and show you how to use some of the main things. We're going to take a look at how to pair a phone, set the clock, look at Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and test out some of the voice commands. Let's get right into it. On the top, you're always going to see your clock and your outside temperature, as well as information about the phone that's connected and the profile that's being used. I appreciate that unlike some of the older GM products, even when you're in Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you still get to see your outside temperature. If I were to click up here where it says driver, maybe? There we go. Yes, just taking a little bit. You can actually set up profiles here. So if you share the vehicle with other people, then you could set up individual profiles, and it'll remember screen layouts and climate settings and driver favorites and things like that. So definitely something to use if you're driving with multiple people. And then this left side of the screen is going to persist there for quickly getting to different important menus. And it should be noted that this is customizable as well. So you can go home and go to these various apps and say you never use a trailer, so you don't really care about this trailing screen, but you want to be able to access the Google Play Store very quickly. You take this and drag and drop it and put it over that, and then look at that. You've got a shortcut for the Google Play Store. Or if you want to get to cameras very quickly, which you can also just do with this physical button here, but maybe you want it available on the screen, pull that over, swap it out, and you can adjust where on the screen those live. That's very nice to be able to customize it in that way. Starting in the bottom, going up, this is a home button. You're going to want to keep that there because this is a system that kind of lives on this home screen here. So right now I've got media on the left and then the navigation on the right. I believe those could probably be switched around somehow as well, but pretty much just how I'd like them at the moment. And then you can swipe over and get your different apps kind of set up like an app screen, like you might be familiar with a phone or something like that. So you've got a few different screens there of applications. We'll get to all those here in a minute. Moving up the left side, we've got navigation. And this isn't a Google Maps based system. You can see Google right down here in the corner. And this is going to work very similarly to how you'd have it on a computer or a tablet or a phone. You can pinch to zoom, you can move around, recenter. And if you're logged in with your Google account, it's going to know things like your home address, your work address, recent searches. So if you bring up directions at your home computer and then come into the car, it's going to have those down here as recent searches. Definitely going to be convenient to have all that built right in. You can even see that there's traffic information around. So green means traffic is moving quickly and easily, and then darker colors means that there's some traffic buildup. Moving up the left, we have our media screen. This is going to get you to whatever media input you're using. Right now, this is USB, but if I click up here, it's going to give me my various inputs: AM, FM, Sirius XM, Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, USB, and applications that are installed. Right now, we've got Google News and Google Podcasts. You could also install things like Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, Tidal, etc. Should be noted that Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are both either done wirelessly or via a cable, USB cable. And if you do want to see more on this 18-speaker Bose system, check the link below for our dedicated sound system review. Let's take a quick look at Sirius XM, see how that's going to look. Oh, do we... trial subscription, okay. I guess we're signing up for a trial subscription. It's going to have your favorites down here along the bottom, and then the ability to play, pause, and move channels right here. Yeah, works pretty well. Continuing up the left side, we have a phone screen. This is going to hopefully not bring up any of my phone numbers, but give you the ability to dial numbers or view your favorites. You can even search your contacts right there. Probably have to do that. Oh, keyboard coming up. Okay. Continuing up the left, you see I have the camera put in there. This car has a 360 cam. You can move around the vehicle, choose various screens, decent resolution, and it works well. Let's go home now and swipe over to the side, see if there's any other apps we missed that are important. We'll skim over Google Assistant for now. That's going to be your voice assistant. Play Store, this is how you're going to install more applications onto the system. Android Auto, we'll go to that. Apple CarPlay is grayed out right here, but if we had an Apple phone connected, that would be lit up. Let's take a look at this trailering screen. If you hook up a trailer, it's going to tell you how long you've been pulling that trailer for, how many miles, and then what sort of fuel economy you've gotten since you hooked it up. This is a nice feature as well, the trailer checklist. So you go through, even if you've been towing for a while, you never know, maybe you're stressed out or in a hurry or being distracted. It's good to be able to go through and verify that you've taken care of all these things in order to tow safely. Continuing on, we have a climate screen. Fortunately, this Yukon provides you all sorts of physical climate controls, but if you wanted to do some of it through the screen or, for example, control the rear, then you can do that here via the touchscreen. Hop over settings for now and come back in a moment. Wi-Fi hotspot. You can have a Wi-Fi hotspot on here through OnStar. It's 4G compatible, and this is how you'd set the name of the Wi-Fi as well as the password. Rear media. This is a way to control the screens back there from the front. And this is really important because if you're a driver and you got kids back there, you want to be able to turn on their screen if they can't reach it or if they're not capable, either physically or mentally, of doing that. And you can actually select the source, choose something like YouTube or Hulu or one of the HDMI ports and get that going for them without having to stop and go back there physically. Amazon Alexa, like I said, you can set that up if you'd like. The My GMC, that's going to allow you to control the vehicle from your phone device through their application and do things like remote start, set climate, schedule service, things like that. As I said, Google Podcasts is installed on here as well as Google News. Okay, let's take a quick breeze through the settings, go through anything that is important. We'll come back to connections when we pair up a phone. Going into vehicle, you can set up a teen driver setup. So if you have a teen in the household and you'd like to prevent them from listening to the radio too loud or driving too quickly or being able to drive without a seatbelt, you can set up locks in there. It actually gives you a pin so that they can't disable it. Rear seat reminder, if you want to have that on, if you've got kids in the back, young children, and you don't want to accidentally forget them back there when you run into the store. Buckle to drive, if you want to make it so the car won't move without buckling your seatbelt, that's an option. This vehicle is equipped with Super Cruise. So Super Cruise lane change right here, you can have it do it automatically. So as you're coming up onto a vehicle, it'll automatically get over and change lanes, or do it only when you press the turn signal, or not change lanes for you at all. You have to do it manually. Collision/detection system. So this is going to set how sensitive your automatic emergency braking and warning systems are. If you're finding that you like to follow people too closely and you're getting warnings on your dash and they're bothering you, you can adjust the sensitivity of that, change a lot of those settings right there. Under comfort and convenience, this vehicle is equipped with an air suspension, and when you shut the vehicle off, it lowers itself down to make it easier to get in and out of, So you can turn that on and off right there if you'd like. Chime volume, can actually turn down the chimes, such as leaving your seatbelt on or leaving the key in the vehicle. Hands-free exterior storage access, so you can actually walk up and kick underneath the rear liftgate and have it open automatically. Reverse tilt mirror, so when you throw the car in reverse, if you want the mirrors to tilt down and look at the curb, that's an option there, as well as folding the mirrors. When you lock the vehicle, your rain sensing wipers are right here, and when you put the vehicle in reverse, it does a little swipe of the windshield wiper back there. Not super necessary when you have a backup camera. Under remote lock, unlock, and start, you're going to be able to enable and disable settings such as when you remote start it, if you want your cooled or heated seats to come on automatically, or when you click the remote unlock button, if you want all the doors to open or just the driver's door to unlock. And sometimes I like to turn the horn beep off so that when I lock the car at night, it doesn't honk the horn. You can do that through there. Passive door lock is also one that Alyssa likes. She has on her Chevy Bolt. When she walks away, it simply locks the vehicle without her having to press anything. Power assist steps. This one has the side steps there that move in and out. If you want to, say, wash them, you can deploy right here manually, and that'll keep them out for you to be able to spray them off. Seating position. If you want the car to move the seat back for you when you get out and then move it back forward when you start up the vehicle, that's an option there. Heading back into the main settings screen, not really anything you're going to need in apps and permissions regularly, but date and time, that's how you're going to choose if you wanted a 24-hour format for your clock, or if you wanted to disable the automatic time and actually set a manual time for yourself, you could do that in there. I like keeping automatic on. It simply sets itself wherever you are, daylight savings time or anything like that. Under date and time, you have display settings. If you wanted to turn the entire screen off, maybe you're cruising on the highway late at night, you wanted it to be a little easier on your eyes, that's how you do that there. And the mode, you can actually change this to a brighter day mode or a darker night mode, although it doesn't really seem to be making any changes right now. I'm not really sure why. Under sounds, this is a nice feature, maximum volume at startup. You don't want to be in one of those situations where you come home late at night, you're bumping to some music, and then you go to start the vehicle when you're groggy and tired in the morning to go to work, and the music starts blasting at that same volume. You want it to automatically bring itself down. And another nice feature in sounds is the audible touch feedback. Now, fortunately, the screen has a very nice, pleasant, simple touch sound, but if you don't even like that, you can turn it off, and then it doesn't make any noises as you click around. Under accounts, you're going to want to remove all of your accounts here, your Google account and Alexa and things like that, if you go to sell the vehicle, or if you needed to disable something in there. That's how you take care of that. You'd also want to do that under security here. You can clear credentials, remove all certificates, and that's going to log you out of everything. Under updates, you're going to want to periodically connect the vehicle to Wi-Fi and check for any updates. That's going to cycle through and actually see if there's anything new to install onto the system. And you can actually have updates automatically install with those preferences. Alright, that's about everything you're going to need from settings, so let's jump into some voice commands. Now, because this is an Android automotive-based system, it's got Google Assistant built into it, and I gotta say, it works really, really well. There's a few different ways to toggle it. You can either press the icon on the screen for the Google Assistant, you can press this voice button here on the steering wheel, or you can simply wake it up with the wake word, "Hey Google, what's the weather today?"
Today in Lake Forest, it'll be partly cloudy, with a forecasted high of 75 and a low of 63. Right now it's 73 degrees and partly cloudy.
And because this is full-fledged Google Assistant, you can even do fun things like, "Hey Google, tell me a joke."
What do you call a belt made of watches? A waste of time.
Ha! That's pretty good. And it... Okay, calm down. And it integrates with the vehicle as well, so you can do things like, "Hey Google, I'm cold."
Sorry, I can't control that in this car.
What? Really? I thought that would have been integrated. Can you really not do that? "Hey Google, set the temperature to 64 degrees.
Got it. Changing the temperature to 64 degrees.
So you have to be a little bit more explicit with it. You can't simply use those sort of commands. I know in the Volvos you can do that and just say, "I'm cold," and it'll work. And it's integrated with the navigation as well, so I can do things like, "Hey Google, navigate to the nearest Starbucks."
Okay, Starbucks. Here we go.
Look how quick that worked. It just gets up and goes, puts it right into the navigation, and away we are. There's no, "Oh, do you want this one? Choose line 1 or 2. It's just very intuitive, easy to use. Let's get on into Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So let's do Android Auto first, and then we'll hook up our Apple CarPlay phone, and I'll show you how to pair it. Got Android Auto hooked up right now with my S23 Ultra. You can see it takes up the center and lower right portion of the screen here, but you still get the persistent menus on the top and left. You got the Android Automotive-based taskbar on the bottom. You got the Android Auto taskbar on the bottom, and then sort of a split screen setup with your media on the right and mapping on the left. But this type, when you engage with the map, I believe it actually, there we go, should bring it full screen, and then you can move it around. Good refresh rate here. Pinch to zoom, and we could even do satellite view if we liked that. That works well. Let's bring it over to YouTube Music, see what our super mix is giving us today. We are getting some T.I. All right. Hip hop coming out of the Yukon.
You know, I like my beat
Down low, down low, down low. All right, can't get demonetized. Pause that and bring it back. Let's take a quick look at the dialer. Oh, a little bit of a hiccup there. There's your phone screen. Resolution's not fantastic on here, but that's how your dial number is going to look. All right. Right now the iPhone is recording, so we're going to have to stop the recording right there. And then we'll pair this thing up. If you've got an iPhone, this is how it's going to work. You're going to bring up your Bluetooth screen from the settings menu. And then you're going to go over here to the phone screen on the truck. Go up here to the settings menu. Click connected phone. and then this plus icon. Switch phone if you've got something already connected. And then scroll to the bottom, you'll see GMC, my GMC rather, on the iPhone. You'll get a pairing number, press pair on both screens. Allow everything that the iPhone asks you to allow. Hit enable for everything that the car asks you to. Use CarPlay. And there you've got CarPlay coming up. And it looks nice, again, taking up the kind of majority of the screen here, still with our left and right menus there, or rather left and top. There's our home screen. Resolution definitely better on CarPlay. Refresh rate, though, not fantastic. Google Maps, can't pinch and zoom with iPhone, but that's how it's going to look. Let's bring up, whoops, I accidentally pressed the home button. Back to Apple CarPlay there. There is your YouTube music. Let's bring up the Super Mix. What's the iPhone playing today? Some Nightwish, very different vibe from TI on the Android. Alright, what does our phone look like? There we go, phone app with keyboard. Okay, before we wrap up, let's go back and take a quick look at the rear screens. Like I said, that's an option here on the Yukon. Sitting on right here because I turned it on from the screen up front. It's a simple setup. You've got Hulu, YouTube, and YouTube Kids installed, and then also 2 HDMI inputs that you could hook up to right there. Let's bring up YouTube. It is a touchscreen based system. Not exactly a YouTube app here. It seems to just be a browser that's running youtube.com. And kind of takes its time. Not the snappiest connection. I imagine if it were some sort of app, it would load quicker. Here you can see I've searched for Daily Motor, and how fitting, one day ago we had the touchscreen review on the Chevy Tahoe. A very remarkably similar system. We do have ads, because apparently whatever account is on here, yeah, there's no account. Not running any sort of YouTube Premium, which I highly recommend. And there it is, Daily Motor in Daily Motor. Yeah, not the fastest system here. Also not the fastest connection. You can see how low of resolution it's playing there. Interesting. Alright, let's let that play, get me some ad revenue. So there we have it, the infotainment breakdown here on the 2023 GMC Yukon. Works well, easy to use, and giving you just about all the features you're going to want at this price point. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll try to get to them, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.